Welcome to Sales Velocity TV, where we pull back the curtain on how the top businesses in the world sell more with less resistance. Bringing over 50 plus years of combined sales experience and over 100 million in revenue generated. World sell more with less resistance. Bringing over 50 plus years of combined sales experience and over 100 million in revenue generated. Please welcome the hosts of Sales Velocity TV and two incredibly entertaining gentlemen, Andrew Cass and Aaron Parkinson.
Welcome to another episode of Sales Velocity TV and radio. If you're listening on the podcast on Apple or Google, I'm Andrew Cass. That's Aaron Parkinson to my left, my right. Good to be with you here today, my friend. Got a good one today. We're talking about the truth about sales funnels. I think sales funnels might be one of the more misunderstood topics in marketing and sales today. However, the most powerful component of any business is, I think, the health and stability of their sales funnel. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. I think these calls are always funny because we spend at least the first 20 minutes before them ranting about random topics. I'm almost
we had a call, now we're on a TV show. We just carry it over, right?
Yeah, I almost feel like what we should just start at 20 minutes before our time and just let people see like us actually going bananas about things we're seeing in the marketplace.
Right. So what Aaron means is we do the show live on Fridays at 11, but we connect at 10:30 and we just kind of get our notes in order. We know what we're talking about, obviously, but we end up getting into other topics that, interestingly, are always these topics: sales, marketing, conversions, business development, entrepreneurship. And funny. We had some high energy on that call related to other topics today, which we're going to bring to you today because sales funnels is, Aaron, it's funny. I speak to so many entrepreneurs from around the world daily. In emails, I get on Zoom calls. Sometimes they do private strategy sessions. We're running, as a lot of people know, we're running a large software company now with members in 15 different countries. So we see and hear so much from business owners, boots on the ground. And interestingly, still to this day, and I thought the sales funnel terminology was like, I think we take it for granted. I thought it was like old language. There are so many business owners, more so today than ever, that say, what is the difference between a sales funnel and a website, and do I need one for my business? So what we're going to deconstruct for all of you today is three things. We're going to talk about the very important distinction between a website and a sales funnel. There's a stark difference. We're going to talk about the types of funnels that are working today, which I think will be the biggest benefit for anybody regardless of industry that you're in. And thirdly, we're going to talk about the things that need to be in place before you would launch a funnel, or a funnel can become quite a disaster if these things aren't in place. So I think there's going to be tremendous value today, as always. And, let's kick it off with the distinction, Aaron, because I think that the funnel word is still a relatively new word in the world of sales and specifically internet marketing.
Yeah, I think that in order to give people context, you have to define what a sales funnel is. And a sales funnel is simply a website that has a specific flow of information designed to make your prospect aware of the fact that you exist, create credibility between you and them by providing some type of information that makes them go, wow, this company, this person knows what they're talking about and they can help me. And then it has this distinct call to action to move them forward into your sales process. And there are some, sales funnels, we've been talking about sales funnels since 2004. We were educating people, 100,000 students in 80 countries in the mid-2000s on what a sales funnel is, how it works, so on and so forth. You've got your experts in the field. I know you're a big fan of guys like Russell Brunson. You read all of his books. A mutual friend of ours, Jordan Mederick, has launched an amazing new company in drop funnels. We think that it's like common language because we live in this world, but the reality is most business owners still don't know the difference between the two, and they don't know which one they're supposed to have.
And interestingly, the word itself is a relatively new word. I don't know what rules are with getting words added to the dictionary, but the word sales funnels isn't in the dictionary. It's not even recent language. When you say 2004, I'm pretty sure that terminology was created around that time. Pre-Google, or around the time of Google search and, Google being public, I think.
We were building them in 2004. I feel like it should be. Maybe we should reach out. If you got any connections in the online dictionary world.
I'm going to make a call to Wikipedia and handle this crap.
I think
how is this not mainstream wording today? That's It's insulting to us funnel people.
You know what would be amazing is if you could somehow get a hold of Wikipedia and then make them believe that you created the term.
Really,
sales funnels.
You got to probably give it to Russell though, because he's the guy that pioneered. There's always somebody that pioneered like the terminology. You got to give it to Brunson on that one.
Yeah, but that's why it would be amazing if you could somehow get the word defined in 2020, created by Andrew Cass.
Yeah, that would be big.
That would be big.
Trademark
that would be
that baby, right?
But let's talk about the distinction between the two, because people, they intermingle the words all the time, and they don't seem to understand the distinction, or if they're supposed to have one or the other. So
yeah, and before you do though, there's one thing I want to point out before I lose this thought for the beginning here is, in its simplest terms, a sales funnel is sort of like your sales process. So if the word funnel kind of gets confusing, think about like a funnel looks like this, right? That's typically what a funnel is. So if you Googled like sales funnel or anything, you'd see a big top and a little bottom. And it would be, leads coming in, leads becoming more qualified, leads becoming sales. That's kind of the funnel. So when you think about your funnel, take the term out if it confuses you. And your funnel is technically your sales process. And then it becomes, how do you make that a web-based process? Sales funnels tend to be online, but they don't always have to be online, because at the end of the day, they're just the cycle or the stages of your sales process. Now let's talk about.
But you bring up a good point there, which just kind of gives me another thought to hit on. So if you want to think of another type of sales funnel, look at an infomercial on television.
Great.
They're one of the original sales funnels, right? They put up their gadget, the ShamWow, whatever it is. You need to have this thing. This is what it does. This is why it's so awesome. Here's all the people that love it. And if you want it, here's the 1-800 number.
Or go to the website.
Or go to, back in the day, it was called the 1-800 number. Now it's the 1-800 number or the website. And then, so the person has become aware that it exists. There's a problem that it solves. It gets them super excited. Now takes them to a very definitive next step. If it was call a 1-800 number, they call the 1-800 number. Now there's a salesperson on the phone. The salesperson's educating them, answering questions, and then they're taking the order. So the sales funnel is the commercial, the call to action to a 1-800 number, the salesperson on the phone, sale gets made, exactly. Right? That's a sales funnel. What we're specifically talking about is a digital form of the same thing, right? But it's done on radio. It's done on television. It's done, on the internet. It's just a sequence of events that bring the prospect from unaware into all the way down to the finite point where they really want to buy, and they make the purchase,
and
right?
The key point is it's one path. So a sales funnel versus a website. A website is many paths. Sitemap, contact us, learn about us, services, pricing. A sitemap is like a brochure on a website is like a brochure online. A sales funnel is one path, one call to action, one thing being sold right down the chute, like you just said. And we'll talk a little while about the importance of having frankly, you need both in your business. One is for big picture branding credibility, and one is to make a lot more sales.
Absolutely. What we tend to define them is in two different ways. You've got your sales funnel and what we like to call our corporate site.
Corporate site,
right?
Exactly, yeah.
Our corporate site is really the term that most people think of when they think of website. That's your site that's built on WordPress. It's got some big image at the top. It's got a sitemap. It's got an about us. It's got a contact us. It's got our products. It's got our terms and conditions. It's maybe got our physical location. It's the info brochure of your business. And this battle of like, which one should I have is actually ridiculous.
Because there's no battle. The answer is both.
The answer is both, 100%. Because if somebody comes to your sales funnel, a solid 30% of them are going to Google you to find out if you're legitimate. And most sales funnels don't rank on Google because they're not set up from an infrastructure standpoint to do the same,
or Aaron, as we mentioned in the last episode, not only are they going to Google you, they're going to social you.
Absolutely.
So the way you're positioned around the orbit of a sales funnel is critical. We'll talk about that in a minute also.
Absolutely. So you want to have the corporate site. You want to have the brochure, so to speak, that is the traditional website. But you can't get the same conversions if you take the traditional corporate website and let's say you do a Facebook ad and you say, hey, here's XYZ problem that you're facing, learn how we did that, whatever, and then you just send them to a corporate website. They're going to get lost in all of the navigating to different pages, and there's no real concrete next step, and they're going to go, you know what, I'll check on this later,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
The sales funnel has a very concrete focus, one path, like you talked about. It's educate them, next step, call to action, make the sale.
Right.
Right. And really what it does is it just eliminates distractions. Right. And you and I both know and everybody knows in this world right now of so much information being hit from so many different sides, we have to create something that is solely focused on the process that we want someone to follow so they don't get distracted. And that's what a sales funnel does.
And the world we come from is really called the direct response marketing world. In direct response marketing, in direct response TV, you talked about that a second ago, right? Is when your website or your offer, again, TV, radio, internet, doesn't matter. They've worked since the beginning of time. Direct mail, before any of the technology, was a sales funnel. And it's a single offer. It's a single thing. It's a single product, a single service, a single call to action, right? So if you look at, back in the day, I remember back in the day, Aaron, getting things in the mail or seeing TV commercials from Carlton Sheets on doing no money down real estate. So I'm going to go back I'm going to go back archaic and then we'll talk new, right? So think about Carlton Sheets. That was the big player. There was another one out there, a guy by the name of Ken Roberts. They did $100 million from direct mail, a sales funnel, by the way, from direct mail only, where they would send an offer out to people in the mail. And it would be for like a $149 commodities trading program. Same with Carlton Sheets. I think it was a couple $100 to buy his no money down real estate training. That was a sales funnel. And the sales funnel went like this: TV ad, call into customer service and buy your stuff, or direct mail piece, call the number on the letter or postcard and buy the real estate training course. And that was the sales funnel. It was, and obviously when they got somebody on the phone, maybe there's always an additional offer, which we'll talk about in a little bit, a back end offer that's much higher priced so that the business can make money. And in his case, there was mentoring and coaching in real estate. Same with the trading guy, Ken Roberts, mentoring, coaching in real estate. So front end training program, back end coaching and mentoring program. That is in its simplest forms what a sales funnel looks like. There's some people today doing it phenomenally online, of course. I'm seeing people doing it today, businesses doing it today on TV phenomenally as well, specifically in the financial services space. So there's one company out there right now. I watch CNBC a lot. It's, from my years in the financial services industry, as you know, it's the station I stick with because it just gives me great news on money, economics, finance, companies, who's going public, whatever. And there's a company right now called Fisher Investments, and they're the biggest player out there. Have you heard of them?
Yep, absolutely.
$500,000 cash to even have a conversation. I don't know if they're annuities or funds, but it's active management, right? It's professional private wealth management. And they are absolutely phenomenal. They're a sales funnel driven financial services company. Now think about the world of financial services. 99.9% of these companies throw up a big website, big brochure, sitemap, about us, services, call us, contact us, learn more. And they think they can sell with that site, and they can't. They can maybe get some phone calls from that site. But Fisher Investments, they go on to CNBC with big ads that says this: if you want to learn the 7 steps to avoid, if you want to learn the 7 steps to learn how to not run out of money in retirement, give us a call or go to our website and download our free report. This is a financial services company. That's a funnel. That's a direct response offer, because what they're doing is they're giving you information on one thing. They're bringing you into a sales process, and then they're going to introduce you to obviously their active management, wealth management stuff later, versus the other way around where everybody markets their website and tries to get phone calls, but they lead with information in a funnel process, and then they've built trust credibility. It's called information-based marketing in some arenas, right? They've built that credibility. Now they get way more people raising their hands saying, hey, I read your report, or I grabbed your DVD. This was even before the report, right? They were doing DVDs years ago. I got your DVD. How can I learn more? Can I work with someone within? Because now they're sort of like the author and the curator and the creator of that information. So how are they looked at? They're looked at in a whole different light than just the person who throws up a website, right? So a long explanation to the difference between website and funnel, but think about having a website, because that's automatic. But then when do you build your direct response offer so you can open the mouth of the people you can get to way more? And that's the question.
Well, and the key to most funnels, and I would say 99% of them, and you kind of touched on it briefly there, is that they lead with some type of value. They don't
some
say
sort of solution, right?
Yeah, not here's our company and here's what we sell. It's, hey, do you have this problem? Hey, here's some value that I can give you. Come on in and consume it. Person starts to consume it. They start to build credibility and rapport with whoever has that offer. And then somewhere along the lines, there's a call to action. Maybe it's to buy some type of small initial purchase to get them in the process of buying, or maybe it's to book a call with somebody or a strategy session or something. These little micro steps along, but often leads with value.
Yep. Exactly. So think about, whatever business you're in watching this right now is there information that I have in the form of a free report, a guide, a cheat sheet, a video, a webinar, huge today, by the way, that I can lead with instead of leading with my products and services, right? The greatest way to deter sales is to lead with your products and services. The greatest way to make sales is to lead with information that is valuable to your audience so that they can consume and learn about what it is that you do, and then you become the automatic choice for them to nail down that solution in most cases.
Yeah, and
that's the psychology of it.
Yeah, and you're getting them into your ecosystem, whether they're giving you an email and then you have their email, so you can, that's a valuable asset unto itself, so you can continue to market to them, or whether they watch one of your videos, which so many of the marketing platforms right now, you can retarget anybody who's watched your videos. Once you get them to take an initial action, they're now in your ecosystem, so you can continue to communicate with them over time, because the reality is that only about 2% of people will buy the first time they see your offer. The other 98% of people who would buy need to be constantly communicated to, because they have different buying patterns. They have different resistances that need to be broken down. They have different timelines of when they want to make that decision. So by bringing them into your sales funnel, it gives you an opportunity to continue to establish that relationship with them. Little bit of value, little bit of value. How'd you like to take the action now? No, not ready to take the action now? Okay, how about a little bit more value, a little bit more value? How about now? You ready now? No? Okay, a little bit more value. And when you do that right, the 100% of people that would have bought from you from the beginning are now being indoctrinated into what you do, versus how most people do it, where they come out and they say, do you have this problem? Here's my product. And they're only getting that 1 to 2% of people, that would have ultimately bought from them.
Yeah, and in my book, Sales Velocity, I use this analogy about the hunter and the fisherman, right? So really good business owners are fishermen. Business owners that are hunters are always chasing. Fishermen are always luring. So in the world of lead generation and customer acquisition, if you are sophisticated enough to understand what we're saying and you have a direct response mindset, you're a fisherman. You're always putting the right lures in the water to lure the right type of customer into your world, into your ecosystem. Fishermen, hunters are always chasing. Call, cold call, chase. And it's like at some point your credibility goes down the tubes. I was talking to someone yesterday, by the way, Aaron, about this. And I said, how are you getting, a mutual friend of ours, by the way, that I'm going to do kind of reposition his front end offer, right? And I said, how are you getting customers now? And he said, well, we're cold calling. And I was like, do they still do that? I'm thinking to myself, do they still cold call anymore? I didn't even know that happened. I said, and are you closing sales? Not really. We're just doing a lot of chasing, right? We're hunters, essentially, right? So what I said to him, I said, listen, even if you did 100, 200, 300 dials a day, the world I come from as a stockbroker when I was 21 was, here's a stack of Dun & Bradstreet leads. You need to make 300 dials a day or you can't go home. That was the whole business. And it was predicated on the numbers. But that's not the business today. We didn't have tools and resources and funnels and direct response psychology back then, right? We just didn't have, we didn't have the capabilities to do that or the knowledge to do that, right? And I said, listen, even if you are the best cold caller in the world, even if you sound amazing on the phone, even if you are the sharpest dude on the planet, the fact that you've come in via a cold call, there's already a guard up and your credibility's in the toilet. Because professionals don't cold call. Professionals don't hunt, professionals fish. So what we would need to do I could give you the greatest script in the world, but if you're cold calling, my script becomes weak because of the way you're positioned. However, that script could work really well if maybe they got a direct mail piece via priority mail first, and you let them know you're following up with a phone call, and they said, yeah, I have your letter here on my desk. Or perhaps they got a couple emails saying your name came across my desk as somebody who might be interested in fill in the blank. In the next couple of days, me or my team, we're going to reach out, give you a call, and do a demo. So what you've done is you've preempted now a sales process, aka sales funnel. See the difference? So framing it and positioning it is everything, and that's what sales funnels do, is they frame and position you and your offer in a way that, the theme of the show, that dramatically decreases selling resistance. So I told him, you have so much selling resistance because you've stacked it in a way where you're asking for, it's like you're asking for pain, right? You have so much selling resistance because of the way you're positioned. But if you take a sales funnel direct response approach, then you can really eliminate a lot of resistance by showing up differently. So the way you show up with your offer, looping back to the point today, is everything, right? So if you're selling, if you have a free report, if you have a webinar, and that's how you lead, when it comes time to make the sale, because of the information you furnished first, the sale will become infinitely more easy to make. And at the end of the day, this is a show on sales. If we can show you how to make more sales with less drama, less resistance, and less work, that's the game, right? That's what we should all be striving to do as business owners today. And no reason why it has to be tough.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest fear or challenge that most people have is they go, well, I don't know what value to put out in the marketplace to create my sales funnel.
Right.
And the funny thing is that most business owners take for granted the things that they already know, and they think, like we think, that the term sales funnel should be commonplace at this point. They feel like whatever industry they're in, insurance, finance, agency, plumber, HVAC, carpet cleaner, they think that what they know is common knowledge. Mm-hmm. In fact, they almost think that the knowledge that the world has is the level of somebody who's been a client for 5 years.
Right.
When the reality is 99.9% of people have no idea the basics of what should happen in your industry. And by just putting something out there of like, hey, here's the top 3 things you should know before you buy an XYZ, or before you get one of these, or you look at somebody like Ezra Firestone, who owns Boom by Cindy Joseph, and this is a shameless plug for Ezra. He's a good dude. Ezra's built Boom over the last 5 years to a $70 million company in the skin cream world. Okay? There's a million skin creams. Who needs another skin cream? Why is Ezra's skin cream so much better than anybody else's? No offense, Ezra, it's not. The reality is that his marketing, though, is phenomenal.
Which
right?
is usually the case, yeah.
One of his front-end pieces is 5 makeup tips for women over 50. Because he really wanted to target that. Yeah, he leads with that. It's one of his best pieces.
So what you're saying is he doesn't lead with the goop.
Exactly, the goop. And it's funny because he calls it goop.
Yeah, I know.
And so he went out there and said, we really want to target women over 50. We really want to have people understand our core values, which is that women over 50 are beautiful. They really wanted to, they called it the pro-age revolution. They really felt like that was an opening that they could approach because,
right. Yeah.
Women are like, oh, once I'm over 50, I'm not beautiful anymore. Or that's the, misconception, or blah, 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 blah.
Great job on their audience, though. I mean, to know an audience that specifically is probably a different conversation for a different day. I mean, we teach it in our coaching program, but that's number one, is who is my audience and how razor tight can I get them? So he's women over 50. That makes funnel creation really simple now.
Absolutely. And he went out there with that initial article, which was these 5 makeup tips for women over 50. And all of a sudden women are consuming it and they're like, oh, here's this great piece of value, because I was wondering, like, should I start to change things about how I apply makeup, or what makeup I should use, or what colors I should use, or blah, 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 blah. And at the end of it, he's like, oh, and by the way, we've got this amazing product right here, which gives you this nice natural glow that's perfect for women over 50. Maybe you should check it out. Here's a link right here.
He becomes the automatic choice now.
Yep.
So they're aware of the issues. They're educated on solving problems. What are they going to do now? Go back on Google and start from scratch looking for the solution? No, the solution's right there in front of them. He provided the information that made them aware of a better way to do things. Fill in the blank, whatever your product is, right? So
absolutely.
Information, I think it was Perry Marshall that created this term years ago when we met each other, years ago, when this direct response sales funnel terminology came about, right? It's information-based marketing will always allow you to build a much more stable business long term. Because when your business is built on information and education, education-based marketing, information-based marketing, I've heard them both used interchangeably, right? Your business is built on a very solid foundation. If your business is all about your products and services, you can get commoditized very quickly. But if your business is built, of course, products and services is key, but if it's also built on information and education as the lead, the other thing we're not even talking about, which is enormous, Aaron, is the amount of leads you can develop that way. So as you mentioned before, really at the end of the day, if you're a superstar, maybe you close 10% of people that you speak with right away. So 90% are always getting away. In the businesses that lead with information and education, they're building a stable of people who've raised their hands and are qualified leads. And that's a big, big asset. We've seen businesses sell for many, many, many millions, multiples of many millions because of their list, because they're building a list.
That's an asset.
The list is extremely important. If the list is not just an email list, but a physical direct mail list as well, you've like quadrupled the value of your company, because now you have a name and an email. You have a name and email and a physical address, not just a name and an email, right? So think about the ability to list build when you're doing this as well. It's enormous.
Well, one of our mutually close friends, Mike Dillard, you know, you look at somebody like him. This is a guy who had toxic mold poisoning for the last 3 years. And he has been banging this drum now for a decade that you need to own your own list. You need to develop your list. You need to nurture your list. You need to establish credibility with a list. So he's focused the majority of his efforts on building an email list.
Yeah.
Now, there's a percentage of those that obviously become customers, you know, whether that's 5%, 10%. I don't know how many sales he's made in the last 10 years. It's 8 figures, right? But the email list that he has is very connected to him. Mm-hmm. He's nurtured that list very well by providing great value, great content, so on and so forth. 3 years this guy was sick, and he lived off of that email list. The list alone. Every 3 months
is the asset.
I need some money. I haven't been working. I need some money. Puts together great value. Puts together an offer behind it. Sends it to the list. Boom. 100 grand, 200 grand, million. You know, whatever the number is. I mean, I know personally that he's sent out emails to his list that have done $1.5 million in revenue for him off 3 emails. It's, you know, and that is part of your funnel. Like even emails themselves are their own independent mini funnels, right? So, you know, what we're talking about is giving that value and bringing people in a focused manner that has an outcome, some place that they exit in your sales process. And you're going to scoop 5-10% of those people directly into a sale, but you're also going to have the other 90% of people that now
who are paying attention.
They're aware that you exist, right?
And you have another asset in your business. I think Mike is actually the person who introduced me to the world of direct response marketing, sales funnels, education-based marketing, that world, right? Mike was the first. You know, people hearing this right now are hearing this for the first time, right?
Sure.
Somebody will have introduced you to the world of direct response marketing, sales funnels, education-based marketing, right? Like a lot of the words we're using right now, some business owners watching this are like, what on earth is that language? It's like a foreign language right now. But this is when the game changes for business owners is when you tack on this to your business, which is the information, education, sales funnel component, because now it's almost like you've added a new division of your company, right? You have your company now with your products and your services, and you have your website and your people, and you might be doing amazing, but there's almost no scenario where you don't compound the business 10 times over again when you tack on what we're talking about here today, which is adding information, education, training, or a sales funnel to the process, because it's a brand new entry point for people that is incredibly smooth and less invasive than being beat up to get sold something.
And you know what
really changes the game. I've never not seen it change the game when done right. Never. I don't think you have either.
You know the number one word that comes to my mind when you create a sales funnel, when you create that flow, is you create predictability.
Yeah.
And that's the big, I think for most business owners, they're like, oh, man, if I could just predictably bring in 10, 50, 100, 1,000 new customers a day, my life would be so much easier. But they have this shotgun approach of like, I'm going to do some radio and I'm going to send it to my website. I'm going to do some TV. I'm going to do some email blasts. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Once you start putting people into a sales funnel, then it just becomes about math, because you're just looking at how many people progress to the next step. in your sales funnel, and the parts that aren't hitting the numbers that you want, you work on to improve them.
Exactly.
Right? And it becomes this predictable customer acquisition process that most businesses would die for. And that's ultimately what's made you and I so successful over the last 15 years, is we could walk into any business and go, would you like to predictably have leads and sales? And they go, oh my God, would I ever? Because it's like wizardry, right?
But then it's like, how do we do it, right? It's this
how do we do it?
The complexity of it, right? The key word you just hit on, though, is predictability. I'm gonna double down on that word, and I'm gonna now call it predictability and stability, right?
Sure.
So predictability to know, stability to go long term. Those Absolutely. To me are the two things that I would want to strive for more than anything else in a business. I had yesterday, Aaron, I told you I had my, once a month I have my 7-figure mastermind in. I have 8 business owners in the Miami area that have been with me for some 10 years, some 7 years. We meet monthly like clockwork, 12 times a year in my office, full day, lunch, dinner, and we're just drilling down outside of the work environment. And we're drilling down, everybody's drilling down on their business, right? Everybody gets about a 30 to 40 minute hot seat, right? And somehow we got into the conversation yesterday about stability, right? What I just said, that's why it was front of mind for me when you said predictability, is and a lot of these guys, or I think 2 of the guys in the group are on the Inc. 5000 list of America's fastest growing company, right? So for them now, it's like they're past the point of making a lot of money, and now they're consistently making a lot of money and consistently socking a lot of money away. So for those guys now, not all of them, but some of them, it's how do I make this more stable so that it can keep going longer and longer and longer, and eventually maybe be sold, or just predictably, your word, predictably spit out enough cash for me where I'm doing less in the business and enjoying life more, which is what it's about at the end of the day. But those are the big 2 words: predictability and stability. If you can say that my business has a predictability factor and a stability factor in it, you are light years ahead of probably anybody in your space, and that's a good place to be. That's the foundation. That's the concrete foundation on a house, is predictability and stability. And I think this gives you that, right? Good sales processes. That's why we started a software company that has one sole focus at its heart and soul, which is sales tracking. Because if you're not tracking sales in stages, everybody's getting away, and you really can't grow what you can't scale. So stability, predictability.
And I know that we were going to talk about like different types of funnels and stuff like that, but I just feel like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of lame. I don't really want to talk about it right now. You can Google.
I'll tackle it quickly.
You can Google, types of different sales funnels, webinar funnels, cheat sheet funnels, lead magnet funnels. Just go out and Google them.
Basically the different angles, right?
They're just different structures of how to give value and information away to people. And I don't think that we really need to waste our time on this call talking about it. But I think it's more about opening people's mind up to it, and I'll give you an example. P90X. Great product, right?
Hundreds of millions of dollars from TV, by the way.
Right. Sales funnel, right? Now, do you know the company that owns P90X?
You told me once. Who does own it?
It's a company called Beachbody.
Oh, that's right. And they're a monster also.
They're a monster, right? So
that's right. They
have something like 27 different programs. P90X was probably their most famous one. And then there's like another 19. There's Booty Blast and, Ab Shredder and, but P90X is probably the one that most people know, right?
Yeah.
They go out, they advertise the workout program. You buy you either call the 1-800 number or you go to the website and you buy the workout program. And this is where it gets crazy, because their funnel is so deep, right? I mean, if you ever bought if P90X was like cheap, you could buy it for like $9.95 or $19.95.
Is it sold anymore? it used to dominate the TV.
Well, they got
acquired, didn't they?
No, they've combined them all together where now you can have a monthly membership and access all of them. So they've shifted to a more digital delivery version, because obviously DVDs and stuff are not, used anymore. But you go through that funnel, and what happens after you buy the product? Well, there has to be something else that somebody would want to buy if they wanted to buy a workout program, right?
Equipment?
Well, equipment.
Coaching?
They do sell it.
Mentoring?
They do sell equipment, but the first thing that's in their funnel is supplements.
Supplements. That's
They've got a huge supplement division.
Natural extension.
That's actually where they make the majority of their money, is supplements. Now, here's the craziest thing. Behind the supplements, do you know what happens after the supplement? they get handed off to a certified Beachbody coach, right? They get given to them. And here's the craziest thing at all. They're a multi-level marketing company and nobody knows it because their front end of their funnel is so far away from the multi-level marketing aspect. So once you have bought the program and either bought the supplements or not bought the supplements, you get handed to a certified Beachbody coach. And that Beachbody coach is really just an MLM distributor whose goal is to now recruit you into the MLM.
Wow, did not know that.
So that now they've got more boots on the ground for distributors.
Grassroots movement.
Grassroots movement.
Yeah.
It's in my opinion, it has always been the most geniusly
That could be a Wikipedia.
Geniusly run network marketing company in the world because nobody knows it is one.
I did not know. But I knew Beachbody was, so when you said that there was a connection that made, then I started kind of thinking they probably somehow funnel people to distributors and
how do you like that funnel? How do you like that?
That's a great example of a funnel. But Aaron, here's our third topic it's perfect segue into our third topic is, so when you go do a funnel, so like you said, it could be a free report, could be a webinar, could be, if you're a demonstration style business, 10-minute demo video, sign in to get it, right? Whatever. That's the easy part. But the back end. So you just talked about their back end. The biggest mistake I think we see over and over and over again. Well, there's two mistakes. First mistake is not having a funnel of any kind in your business and just marketing your services. Mistake number one, obvious from the first 20 minutes here, 30 minutes. Mistake number two, though, is not structuring the back end in a way where it can make real money. So a lot of people get so hung up on the front end. I'm going to have a funnel. I'm going to sell. I'm not going to sell. I'm going to market my free report. Somebody's going to sign in with their email to get it. And then maybe they're going to book a call with me and I'm going to go try to sell them something, which can work, by the way. But a little more thought to that is there needs to be at least 2 to 3 products in the mix like P90X did. And at least one of them has to have enough revenue in it because it's not going to be simple to get leads to the front end of a funnel if you're going to drive paid traffic today. So the other, I guess, misconception is when a funnel gets launched, people think somehow the clouds are going to rain leads and just miraculously leads are going to happen. No, you're going to need to invest real money, real time, and long term it will take to invest in a lot of leads. Aaron his agency specializes in Instagram and Facebook. Those are like your big two. I know you do some YouTube stuff too, but Facebook and Instagram are you're a heart surgeon of that. Like that's your specialty, right? And that isn't the cheapest place in the world to buy leads. This isn't about boosting posts for $5 a day. This is going out just like you did back in the day and putting a full page ad in the USA Today, running a big direct mail campaign to 50,000 people. You're going to need to invest a lot of money in traffic to get enough eyeballs on your offer to make enough money to have a real business that makes enough money for you to have the lifestyle that you want. That's like, for a lot of business owners are like, wow, I didn't even think about that part. So your back end really has to be well thought out in advance, and you need to make sure that there's enough things being sold or enough services being offered so that there's enough money in the deal. Because I see it happen all the time. People are running crazy trying to get leads. I have a free report. I have a webinar, leads. But the back end is sort of like they might have a sale here, they have a product here, but they haven't really committed to a good back end path. And that they can spend themselves out of money pretty quick if that's the case. So this is a good thing to talk about now is how do I build a complete funnel? So there's front end and then there's back end basically.
Well, I think that there's two questions there. One is mechanics and one is products, right? And you're amazing at the mechanics of it. And that's why, we use Pipeline Pro for our business is because we can look at the dashboard in Pipeline Pro and say, okay, these people here became a lead, and then these people here inquired about the product, and these people here, either showed up for a strategy session or maybe if they no-showed, they show up in a different category, and then these people said they were going to buy, so they're in a different category. And these
but
people
you can see where they're at in all of those stages.
You got to be able to first map out all the stages of things that could happen.
Right.
And then you got to make sure that they move into each one of these stages, so you know what the communication should be based on what stage they're in, and then ideally automate the entire process so the people who have just got the information, they're getting the right types of emails and texts, and then the person who no-showed is getting the email and the text that says, hey, you no-showed to the thing, maybe there was a problem, if you want to reschedule here, blah 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 blah.
All based on behavior, by the way, key. All based
on behavior. And then great, once they actually buy, then thinking, okay, well, what else could they possibly want? And you can survey your lists and say, like, what else do you want? Or you can figure that out through conversations with them or whatever. And then once you define what they want, then you start to add in more products and mechanisms to put those products in front. And it almost becomes sales funnel 2, sales funnel 3, sales funnel 4. And it's important to really think out how you're going to maximize every dollar of your customer acquisition budget. And so first is the mechanics. Like, if you don't have visibility into every single step of your marketing process, how many people are in each stage, how many stages are there, what type of follow-up is being done, all of those things, you are in a bad spot.
The deck is stacked against you, and that's not a good place to start.
Badly. I wouldn't even run. The business can't even function, in my opinion, because you have no idea.
You can't invest money at that point. You're not ready to pull the trigger on investing money at that point.
You can't confidently spend money on media. In fact, I don't even think you can confidently spend time. I mean, if you're running around beating doors and messaging people and collecting business cards, even if that's what you still do, to not have that organized structure of where people are at in the process and the follow-up, you're just missing so much profit. It's incredible. And then the second part of that is actually the profitability matrix, right? If you want to go and scale your business, like people who come to our agency, they have to be spending $1,000 a day already for us to take them on as clients, and then we'll scale them to $5,000 to $10,000 a day, right? We look at their business and say, what is your model? Like, are you selling $10 t-shirts and then it's a wrap? We're not taking you, because you don't have enough money in this business to justify. Your funnel is not deep enough. Your product is not expensive enough. You're out, right? Where we see people, in the info marketing side, for example, who are successful, is they give away a little bit of value, and then they either go to, a strategy session and they sell a product that's $3,000 to $5,000 or more. They give a ton of value in that program, and then maybe they sell another program that's $10,000 to $25,000. So the lifetime value of their customer is high, so they can justify the expense to get the leads in and pay the salespeople and do all that kind of stuff. If it's a lower ticket product, at minimum, there has to be a subscription attached to it, because at least then you're not eating what you kill over and over and over and over. There's again no predictability, no stability in the business. Right? Whereas at least if you have a subscription on a lower tier product, every month you get up, you say, oh, well, now there's 3,000 in subscriptions, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. You got an asset you can sell. It helps you sleep at night. You can predictably map your growth. You can justify paid media. If you're building sales funnels for, one-off low ticket products and you're thinking that you're going to scale using paid media, you need to have a conversation with somebody like us to help, improve / adjust / modify your business offer.
I think the biggest lesson right there is when you're going to do a funnel or create a funnel, the most important thing you need to look at first is the business model itself, like you said, and the economics of the business model. So, people love to rush to get traffic. They want leads yesterday, but they haven't taken the time to strategize on what's the path. Right? What does this funnel path look like? What are they buying first? What are they buying second? What are they buying third? And that's everything. That's the foundation of the house, right? The analogy is that's the cement, the concrete, the foundation, the windows, the walls, and the roof all come second. Traffic, leads, right? All come second. And that has to be firmly in place. That's the architect in the drawing board, right? Laying out the framework. The framework has to be built first. And then the funnel comes in, and then you confidently can drive leads and invest in traffic. And there's not... we talk about Shark Tank a lot because it's such a good example of they asked all the right questions, right? Those guys are all in the ladies on the show. The guys and ladies are all so successful. They've built many, many multi-$100 million plus brands, and they know the right questions to ask if they're going to invest in a business. And for them, it's usually not a lot of money, right? But they're always, what are your sales? Do you have a customer list? How do they buy, right? What's the customer value? What are the different tiers of products?
What's your gross revenue? What's your profitability?
This is all what we're talking about today. And you get to all those answers understanding sales funnel, sales process, sales psychology, right? So deeper and deeper in the show, we're early here in the show. I think this is episode 4. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. We'll continue to talk about the psychology of selling, where most, I guess, novice sales trainers just talk about how to sell, we're going to probably dig a way deeper into the psychology of selling so that selling becomes relatively easy as a component of the business. It's not a hard thing to do. You don't have to hire, tough closers, because you'll have such strategic marketing and such strategic business model development ahead of that frankly, you won't need all the sophisticated hardcore closers, right? It's the psychology and it's the thoughtfulness that goes into the business model and the economics of the business that ultimately drive more sales with less resistance.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to those future episodes because we've seen everything from the first email capture to the largest, back end sale to, to the tune of over $1 billion over the last, 10, 15 years. So right away we can diagnose, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? How do we fix it? We see it on a daily basis. I spend on average about $4 million a month on paid media. You have amazing clients in some of them are the fastest growing people on the Inc. 5000. So we see what works today. And, I know we're getting close to the top of the hour. So I think I would be amiss if I didn't mention how stellar your camo golf shirt looks today.
It is Veterans Day week. And I meant to mention in the beginning that I'm wearing camo today in honor of all the great veterans who have served this country. You're not in this country, but the United States of America. So thank you for mentioning the camo. Man, it's comfortable too. It's this fabric. I think it's a Banana Republic shirt. The fabric is just,
it's outstanding.
As cool as it looks, it feels even cooler. Put it that way.
It's outstanding. I love this. I love the symbology for the week.
Happy Veterans Day to those veterans that are out there. I know a couple days passed, but the week of Veterans Day, we're here.
It's true. I do not live in America. I live in the Cayman Islands, but I'm originally from Canada. We're like brother, sister. I don't know if we're the brother in
North America. It's kind of the same.
Or you're the sister and we're the brother. I don't know.
It's all North America.
We're all part of the same family. And I want to thank everybody for, their service and protecting our freedoms for sure.
Yeah, likewise. Good stuff. And we'll leave it there. And, in closing here, we went deep on just, I think, over the overall architecture of a sales funnel, AKA a sales process. So if you're watching this and you're like, wow, that was a lot of foreign language, or hey, I get it, but I'm not doing it effectively, might be worth watching this one again, because I think the framework, the psychology, and just the overall idea of what we're talking about can totally change the economics of a business for many, 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 many years to come. Businesses that make the big leap, they make the big leap when they have a sales funnel and when they have a really strategic, well thought out sales process. They don't make the leap because their products and services just got better. They don't make the leap because they hired more people. They don't make the leap because their operations tightened up. They don't
make the leap just because they spent more money. You have to spend money intelligently.
Thank you. And I'll leave it at that, because that's when the leap gets made. But at the center of that leap is sales funnel, sales process, and the ideas that we're talking about here today. So stay with us every single Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're watching this live, we're on the Sales Velocity public Facebook page live at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're listening as a podcast, it's in Apple iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's on Google Play, whatever your device is, whatever your preferred listening method is. Aaron, as always, great time, great topic, more to come, same time, same place, next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Hope you enjoyed Sales Velocity TV or radio for today. We'll see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Sales Velocity TV is powered by Pipeline Pro, the ultimate all-in-one sales pipeline management and marketing automation platform that makes all others obsolete. And we can prove it. Take a tour. Sales Velocity TV is powered by Pipeline Pro, the ultimate all-in-one sales pipeline management and marketing automation platform that makes all others obsolete. And we can prove it. Take a tour at gopipelinepro.com. See you on the next episode.